on you Spurs. Come on you Spurs. Good day, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in the world. This is Come on you Spurs TV, where we talk about everything Tottenham. Today we are going to do a preview with will Angeball obliterate the Villans? Now you got to answer that question on this program. With me is Chuma. Chuma, how are you?
Well, as always, super good. It was my birthday last weekend.
Oh yeah, sorry. Let me please just kind of give me those honors, please. Let me do the birthday honors, okay?
Good.
For those of you who don't know, but yes, it was Chuma's birthday last weekend. Chuma is our in-house guru, encyclopedia of football, sports aficionado. You name it, he's a football AI, who is natural.
AI.
Yeah, so happy birthday, Chuma. We love you to bits.
Thank you. And for those fans who are tuning in, thank you very much for my birthday wishes as well. I got a lot of love. If you're tuning in for the first time, welcome to Come on You Spurs TV. If you could hit the like button, subscribe, click on the notification bell to let you know every time that we push out content. And if you could comment as well, let us know what you think about the program, what you want us to talk about as well. Really, really grateful. And as always, come on ye Spurs.
Indeed. Come on ye Spurs. Right, so we get straight into it. Chuma. Now, Spurs have lost 2 games on the trot. We've got a difficult match in quotes. Right? I said difficult because current form, Villa probably had one of the best teams, one of the teams, informed teams in the Premier League at the moment, right? And they've got a good coach,
Yep.
Unai Emery is like really top notch. And if we look at our record over the last season, they beat us home and away, and they haven't done that in a very, very long time. I mean, we've already had Villa's number in the league. So, like you said, when we talked about this off air, you say Emery is one of the most organized coaches we have in the Premier League, and that's no mean feat. He's very, very experienced. He's won, quite a few Europa Leagues with Sevilla, and he's not to be toyed with at all. He knows his onions. He's a really, really good coach, and you can tell his impact on Villa and the way Villa play, how organized they are, how resilient they are. And yeah, their style of play is also very, very organized and very, very difficult to break down. So it's going to be a tough challenge. They're coming to the Tottenham Hotspurs Stadium. And yeah, it's Sunday, 2 p.m. kickoff, right? So yes, we very much look forward to that. But tell me, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, is everything you said at the start, which is I'm a huge fan of Unai Emery. I think he could have worked at the people down the road, so I'm really grateful that he's no longer there. And he's more or less the king of Europa League. He wins it at will, and he's even proving that with Villa at the moment. One of the best things Villa did last year or the year before, whenever they sacked Gerrard, one of the best things they did was more or less get Unai Emery in, and he just came in and he organized their back four. He's very similar to De Zerbi in a negative kind of sense. They build up kind of the same way, and but he doesn't cut through you through the middle. He goes a bit wide, but he stacks up his midfield very, very well. Like I said, very organized. And I think the key to this as well is last season, Ollie Watkins wasn't really firing as much as he is now. All of a sudden, Watkins is on fire, and Watkins is he's really integrated himself into the system he's created. Moussa Diaby is a wonderful acquisition for Aston Villa. He's a very creative player, lots of speed, very productive. Has, like I said, once you have end product as a wide player, wide forward, that's it for you. And you have like the flying fullbacks, Matty Cash. And in midfield, he's stacked up by getting Tielemans as well. So everywhere, the unsung hero is John McGinn, who also had
McGinn. That's the guy. That guy is
McGinn did a number on Spurs. Yeah, he did a number on Spurs last season, and we actually thought that there were points where we were linked to John McGinn. I think this was probably the Conte era as well, because he's that kind of guy. He's a gritty midfield player, who's got a wonderful, I think, left foot. I think he's more left footed than anything else. Got a wonderful left foot in him. And yeah, they're, like I said, very organized. But in saying that we lost home and away, we were a patchy side last year. Different management, in Angeball we trust right now, mate. So there we are.
Right. I mean, Villa have a lot of good players across the park. You have Douglas Luiz. You have what's that young man named Liam Bailey. Okay, sometimes he comes on as a substitute, and you have Condenser, and quite a solid team. And you can see the hand of a good coach on the team. Now we play a direct approach the way we play. Of course, we have the inverted fullbacks, but we do have a few challenges in the sense that we still got suspensions, and we also have injuries, right? So that had an impact on the team selection. And I mean, of course, we had people who were critical last week or the last time out against Wolves, who happen to be Midland neighbours or rivals of Villa, and in the sense that we, essentially didn't sort of close the match out, and we ended up coming away with 2-1 losers at the end of the day, even though we gave a good performance up to 90 minutes in my view. But I mean, 2 lapses in concentration, and bam, you end up losing that match. But I don't want to call it concern, is the challenge. I mean, the challenge facing Ange would be, how does he set up the team? Is he going to set up the team the same way as we had against Wolves, or will there be somebody else coming in place of Dyer? Because Udogie is back, so who partner Dyer in the central midfield? That's in the center of defense. Would he? I think we had Emerson on the left side the last time out. So this time around, we'll probably go with Udogie, because Udogie is back and hopefully is fit for this match. But we also lost a young man. I mean, to injury. I mean, Ashley Phillips. I understand he was injured in the under 18s or under 19s, international match. So the injuries are mounting up. It's like he doesn't really at Tottenham when it comes to injuries. He pause, So it's like, I mean, there's this. Someone had this episode or some YouTube video about the number of injuries in the Premier League this season has just been, amazing, crazy. What's going on?
Yeah. I blame it on the World Cup. For most of them, not Ashley Phillips, but for a lot of the senior players, it's the same thing across Europe as well. We just heard that the young player for Barcelona, the midfield player Gavi's out for till next season because he's done his ACL and I think there's a huge load on players, and you have the ex-pros and who are now pundits saying, "Oh, but in our time we played 70 games and blah blah." Yeah, it's true, but I think the way the game is structured now, the level these guys are playing at, and how athletically fit you have to be constantly to keep pushing your body to those limits, I think is very strong. And that World Cup didn't do anybody any favors because it was inside a season. Fair enough, you say, well, in the summer you only get a week off and then you jump into a World Cup squad or European squad. But I think that timing, I think it really, because you had to go into an intense thing for your country, come back and still be intense for your club, and then they barely had any rest, and then bam, we're back in preseason again, and and the players are human. As much as we like to say, they get paid a lot of money and stuff like that. You and I both know that our captain Heung-min Son has been carrying an injury.
Yep.
He's not fully fit. And this is the same guy who last season wasn't fully fit. And it's like, you're looking at him and he's going to South Korea and our ex Spurs man in Jurgen Klinsmann decides to play him for 90 minutes, even in a game where they are winning 4-5-0. It beggars belief that, look, this guy should rest. But I understand that he's a talisman for his country. And I'm not a huge fan, as you know already. I'm not a huge fan of international football. I personally, I wouldn't care for the friendlies, especially, and this Nations League thing they do. All these things are now being packed in, and yeah, they're not doing our players any favors. And here we are, Spurs as well. In January, February, we're going to most probably lose Yves Bissouma and Pape Matissa to the African Cup of Nations, and I think is an overload on players. I don't
Yeah.
know how they can change
Right.
that.
So what I was trying to say was that, look, ultimately, the headline for this is will Angeball obliterate the Villans, right? Now, are we going to be able to do that with the team we've got now, with the personnel we've got, or we have to make a few changes? And one of the key changes that sort of come to mind would be maybe tweak the defense a little bit to accommodate the fact that Udogie might be coming back. And also, I mean, one of the, I don't want to use the word criticisms of, I mean, possibly the fact that Madison is out. So that creative spark we have in the midfield is probably missing. So what does he do? Does he bring Kulusevski into that position? Or does he add Bentancur to the mix of the midfield and take off someone like Højbjerg? I don't know. Or does he...
Bissouma is suspended, by the way.
Oh, wow, fantastic. So great stuff. So yeah,
a lot of people miss that. Bissouma suspended. Bissouma got that yellow card that he's been sitting on that would have taken him to 5 yellows. He got that in the last game.
There you go.
So he's free
it looks like a Bentancur holding in that role in that case. So it probably going to look like we'll come to the sides in a minute, but yes, so that's a decision made for him, in the sense that there's not much that he can do in that respect. So I mean, from a tactical perspective, so you probably want to play a more creative midfield than we had against Wolves. I don't know, playing away, but maybe we're trying to be a little bit conservative. But this time we're at home, so the initiative, obviously, not that it ever mattered to Ange, mate, he just goes out and attacks, and and you still have those who still are a little bit critical. And I was kind of, I was waiting for this. I was just wanting to see what the reaction would be by the fans when we lose games. I think the first game was a bit like the classic Murphy's Law, because very bizarre game as we said.
Chelsea
losing two guys to red cards, and then the split of injuries in the match just sort of totally transformed that match. Lost 4 for 5 key players in one go. It was just unbelievable. Now, Wolves, a slightly different kettle of fish away, maybe a little bit unfortunate in the end, and in terms of how we acquitted ourselves throughout the match, but kind of just losing concentration in the last few minutes. I don't know. If you lose 3 matches or 4 matches on the trot, would the fans still remain as vociferous in the support of the big love for Ange, loving big Ange instead, or would they turn? You guys, it's amazing what victories do to teams. So when you lose matches, you can just see the tide turning very, very quickly by the fans. What do you think?
Well, I think because we're playing at home as well. I think I believe it places us at an advantage, because the last home game was the Chelsea match, as you alluded to earlier on, and it left a sour taste in the players' mouths, even though the performance was excellent and the fans were behind them. I really think they go into this match with more optimism, because everyone's expecting Villa to give us a very, very tough game, and I'm expecting it as well. But however, at the same time, I always think things never quite work out the way you think they will. Where you think, oh, Villa is going to come here, Villa is going to dominate. And yeah, but Villa were on the ride. And then all of a sudden, this international break, I think the international break came at the right time for Tottenham. Allowed them to regroup. In terms of playing, I'm happy Udogie is back, if he is back, because I heard he was let go from the Italian squad because they felt he wasn't fully fit. But if he's fit now, perfect, because one of the problems I saw was Emerson inverting into midfield from the left side wasn't as good as when he did it from the right. That is not to say Emerson can't invert. I just felt it left a lot to be desired, because Udogie is he's this dynamo, he's this dynamic guy that can go back and forward. He's in your box, he's tracking back a bit more. And Emerson didn't just have that. Porro, was our only creative outlet because Ange decided to play Højbjerg, Bissouma, and Sa, who I think, in my opinion, like I said in the last show, was I think it was much of the same muchness, the same kind of players, and Bentancur or Lo Celso, in my opinion, were needed, and I think a lot of fans, they don't, for better or for worse, they don't really like Lo Celso. I've been a Lo Celso fan since he was at PSG, and when he moved to Betis as well. I think he's an excellent player, but he's just the only thing is he's not James Madison. Where James Madison is like this silky weave in and out kind of guy, Giovanni Lo Celso is more stoic, and he's very good at picking up the ball and playing through balls, but he's not going to like dribble past 12 guys and then lay. No, that's Madison. And I think the problem is people are conflating the two things. They want Lo Celso to be Madison or see the same thing. Even if you watch the preseason games like you did, you saw Lo Celso create quite a lot without having to be Madison. But the thing was, he needed a player like Bissouma or Bentancur next to him to be able to do that. And I think in the games he has played in, he's had Højbjerg, he's had Skip, he's had, and these guys don't help him be himself. He's just created a goal for Argentina in the last game. Bentancur, by the way, has had a brilliant return to the Uruguayan national team under, the god that is Bielsa. And he completely destroyed Bolivia. He was just everywhere, and he was playing the Bissouma role as well, which I think, like I said, it's all about midfield. If we have competent midfield players, I think Tottenham can win any game. The problem always stems from the fact that our midfield isn't good enough, or our midfield isn't as technical as enough, and so we give up possession in different areas. And yeah, everyone's going to talk about Dyer and Davies and all that, which is true. I don't think, as I said to you off air, I don't think Davis is a centre back in a back four, maybe a back three. But
let me just interrupt you just a little bit. I mean, just to talk about Bentancur, because I think you posted this on the Spurs WhatsApp from a quote from Marco Bielsa, the Uruguayan coach. He says there are not many players who defend like a holding midfielder, who attack and defend like an interior, like a number 8, like a mixed midfielder, and that when they reach the rival area, he has the resources, the qualities of an offensive midfielder. It's a very special case within football in general. Player who in himself meets the conditions for all places on the field. Now, today against Bolivia, he stood out clearly. Now, of course, that's a translation from his native language, but it just tells you everything you need to know about Bentancur, the qualities that he has. He can play as a 6, he can play as an 8, he can defend, he can, he's such a fantastic player, and to have him back now to almost full fitness, because he played 86 minutes in that match, that's like having a new signing, and I'm pleased about that,
Yeah, indeed. You know how a couple of episodes ago I said Heung-min Son was the everywhere man. Bentancur is the everywhere man in midfield. He's the everywhere man in the midfield. So we have the everywhere man attacking section, everywhere man defending section, midfield section, and it's Bentancur. Bentancur is like, I just look at him and I think, my goodness, there's nothing this guy can't do. He's very good in possession. He knows how to make quick 1-2 passes. He can glide with the ball. He doesn't need to tackle you as hard to dispossess you. And it's like you're looking at this guy and you're thinking to yourself, like, how on earth? Because I've heard rumors that Barcelona were looking at him so much, especially after that first season with Spurs.
Mm-hmm.
Barcelona were like, look at this guy. This guy is a Barcelona player. If he was playing for any other side in the world, Rodrigo Bentancur would be getting loads of flowers.
Absolutely.
As with all things, as we are seeing now with the Harry Kane loving in Germany, where everyone's like, oh my God, he's one of the greatest strikers that's ever lived. Hello. Tottenham fans have been telling you that about Harry Kane for damn near a decade. We've been saying it. But now all of a sudden, it's like, oh my God, he's scoring from every angle. And yeah, he scored from every angle for Spurs. So it's the same thing with Rodrigo Bentancur. There are fans of rival clubs that look at Bentancur and they like it, but they can't bring themselves to say, this guy's a gifted player. And same thing with Kulusevski as well. You know, they look at Kulusevski. Kulusevski is doing a lot of work, by the way. I'm throwing him in because two of them I think are joined at the hip, Kulusevski and Bentancur. I think Kulusevski is doing some work that's just going unnoticed. Like, it's when you watch clips of him or in isolation, you're like, hold on, this guy just brought the ball out. This guy just drove into the center, creating space. You know, you're looking at him going, wow, they're two very intelligent players. And the fact both of them are playing for Spurs and they're playing in this game, I think there'll be a lot of chances. I think Ange is going to go, like I said, obliteration style. He's going to go for it because I think you saw Brendan Johnson made a comment, I think, after the game against Wolves, where he said our problem was we let up on attacking. We didn't attack as much as we had possession, but we weren't trying to attack as much. I think this is going to be full steam ahead. This is going to be like full metal Ange ball.
So it's like full pedal to the metal, right?
Oh, you're pressing it down, right down. The accelerator is down. I think if Tottenham go up 2-3, they're going to be looking for blood. You know, that's just my belief, and I think a lot of people wouldn't believe it because they say, "Oh well, you know, Villa on form." I think no, these are the games that I think Ange looks at and says, "All right, let's set out our marker. If we lose, we lose, but let's go and beat these guys because these guys are supposed to be the next best thing. They're supposed to be ahead of us or the same level as us. No, let's just go out and do it." So I just think the mentality will be Spurs are going and looking for a win and are going to look for beating Villa is a huge boost before you face City, which is the next game.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I mean, let's have a quick look at the potential lineup. How Spurs will potentially line up against Villa. So in goal, I heard Vicario was ill, and I don't know if he's recovered fully now because I think he came back from the Italian camp as well. I think with a touch of flu or virus. That was the reports. I don't know if he's fully recovered now. So potentially you could have Foster if he's not fully recovered. Now, what do you think?
Well, I think Foster can help. I think he can do a good job if he's there. But I don't know. I think Vicario is playing because I haven't seen it on any of the Spurs in the nose that he's definitely not playing. But it was an illness, so we don't know how quickly he's recovered from it. But I think goalkeeping isn't your problem, except in build up. But even in build up, it's shorter passing. So I think Foster will be fine if he's playing.
Right. So the goal is out in the open on the right. I mean, Pedro Porro is beginning to sort of take command of that right hand position in the team.
He's beginning, or he's taking it.
He's fully made it his own now. It's like,
he's taking it now. Yeah.
On another Spurs forum where you have folks who sort of say Pedro Porro is like the god of football. It's like a running joke internally. I think it was when he had that bad start to begin with. So someone just sort of put down the gauntlet and said, "Look, Porro is football." It's been idolized on that forum, and for now you're seeing the good reason why. Because he's beginning to sort of lay down the marker and show himself as a really, really good player. I think it's been a good acquisition so far, and
he's also built up a good relationship with Kulusevski. I think
absolutely.
Two of them quite understand each other very well, so that's always a good thing.
And he does the inverting thing quite well as well, so which is a plus. When we go to the left hand side, I'll tell you a little bit about Doge. We had anyway. Well, let's come back to that in a minute. So Pedro Porro on the right hand side, that's almost undisputed. He's not going to be fighting for that role with Emerson anymore. At least Emerson might come out as a substitute. And to think that Emerson actually played as right back for Brazil. In the friendly not friendly actually, qualifier, it tells you a lot, doesn't it? Now, so centre backs, are we having Dyer and Davis continuing that role, or is there going to be a change? What do you think?
Well, it's like I said, this is it's causing a lot of consternation on Spurs blogs, X, all these different platforms that have Spurs fans, Reddit, the rest of them is like everyone's going like, who would have believed, or rather, of course we believe that it's back down to Dyer Davies again, the centre backs, but both guys, I would rather play. Look, I would pluck that young man Dorrington. I would stick him next to Dyer. Dyer needs somebody that can run, and Dyer is an older guy. So I personally believe that Dyer should play next to any of the young boys, um, either Ashley Phillips or Dorrington. And now Ashley Phillips is unavailable. I would blood Dorrington because I don't think the Dyer Davies combination in the back four works. That's just me. Um, I'm ready to be proved wrong.
Okay, so Dyer Davis, we'll see how that goes. And on the left-hand side, we now have hopefully Udoje will be back. Now, the thing about Udoje is this, right? You mentioned earlier on about having Son in front as the everywhere man and Bentancur in the middle as the everywhere man. I think Udoje is the back everywhere man, because if you remember, you see him in a penalty box one time, next time you see him in midfield batting, and then you see him up front in setting up a goal, or even having the shot on goal himself, so he is the everywhere man, in that back line. What do you reckon?
He is.
Right. So
no, he is. He's especially where he camps in their box. Like you're almost thinking, hold on, is that an extra striker?
I know.
Like I find it so funny seeing him literally parked at the edge of the box. I'm like, this guy, you're the left back, you're the invested left back, and he's so attacking, but at the same time, it's his recovery pace going backwards. Yeah, he is. I would say he is the everywhere man of the back four. Yeah. I can give him that title. Yes, indeed.
So in the middle of the park, which is where, I won't call it a conundrum because Bissouma is suspended, Bentancur is back. I mean, in my head, I'm thinking, This is me thinking out loud here. Højbjerg, Bentancur, and Sarr. Now, you might think different, or it might be Bentancur, Sarr, and Lo Celso. I don't know. What do you reckon?
Yes, that. So I'm you know me very well. I'm the latter. Lo Celso, Bentancur, and Sarr. Those three, I'll trust those three. But I understand the need for Højbjerg. So I wouldn't be disappointed if it was a Højbjerg, Bentancur, Sarr. But that's more. I would have done that away from home because I think it's a more solid three. But in terms of where we're playing at home, we just need those goals. And you got a guy like Lo Celso that I personally believe can feed balls. I know a lot of people are disappointed. I'm disappointed as well that he hasn't hit the heights I expected for him. But I just think he's never had a run of games. He's never had trust completely since Mourinho. And that's just my thing. And I think in an attacking team, like I said, it's so amazing. I wrote down on X, the platform, that it's so amazing that we've never seen this guy that we keep seeing, that he just pops up in Argentina and becomes this guy, this midfield complete guy, and then he comes back to Spurs and it's like, oh yeah, well, he's just there sitting on our bench. But so, Argentina, he's lauded. Yeah.
My take is this, right? Ange watches everybody in training, right? So he sees them daily, and for him not to feature him as a starting player says a lot, and it's quite telling that he doesn't start. And I don't know why from us who are like punters or observers or pundits or whatever you call us, who are looking at it from the outside, they're thinking, oh, he can do a job here, but why he's not doing that job for us, or he's not being trusted to do that, I don't know. I think that's a matter for Ange to sort of figure out, and of course, maybe he needs to do a lot more to convince Ange that guy to turn to in this studio, because I would have thought he would have done quite well as well. There you go. So my front line, I think Son chooses himself there. Kulusevski also chooses himself and Brian Johnson. I'm not sure we have any option. The only option maybe you might want to maybe say maybe Brian Hill will come in, but hey, Brian Hill is I think it's quite lightweight if you like, unlikely to start. So and then maybe Villans.
I agree with Brennan Johnson, Son, and Kulusevski.
All right, so we just pray that no more injuries arise from where we are now. So yeah, right. Scoreline,
because our bench is looking very light at the moment.
I know. Let's have a quick look at the scoreline. I'm thinking, okay, what do you think the scoreline would be? We came up with the headline. That's Angeball obliterate the Villans, at Tottenham Hotspurs Stadium. I mean, I'll go with that. Let me let you start first, and I'll tell you what mine will be. You know what it's going to be anyway. So hey, you better go first.
No, Spurs. I think Spurs always I think Spurs' aim is always to score 2 or more goals to win. And you notice that every time we haven't really scored 2 or more goals, we've lost. Like you saw that against Chelsea, you saw that against Wolves. Had we scored a second goal, that would have changed the game. I think the aim is always score 2 or more. So, and maybe because of who the back four is as well, in terms of centre back pairing, I'm worried to say that Watkins might get off or Diaby, one of the two of them. Oh, by the way, in speaking about Leon Bailey, there was a stat that came out yesterday where Leon Bailey is the most effective player off the bench in the Premier League. He scored like 3-4 goals off the bench, and Villa and Arsenal are tied with the most goals scored by
substitutes
this season. So Leon Bailey is one to watch out for should he come on. But I can see Watkins. So I'm aiming for conservatively, even though I'm talking about obliteration, I'm talking more performance obliteration. I'm going 3-1. Anything more, possibly more. Maybe 3 or 4. I don't know. But I think 3-1. I think it's a statement that I don't have Madison. I don't have Van de Ven. I don't have Romero. But I want to show you that my football works. And these players are going to come out and they're going to do the fans proud. So I think, and also because of that Chelsea game and the loss to Wolves, that was kind of unexpected. I think the players will be up for this one and to prove a point. So I think 3-1 is what I'm going for to Spurs.
Fantastic. I think I'm probably going to go with what you've come up with as well. I was going to go 3-1 anyway. So yeah, so we're agreed on that scoreline. So we look forward to that kickoff 2 p.m. Sunday, the 25th or 26th of November.
25th. Oh, 26th. Sorry, no, Sunday is the 26th. Yes.
Oh, Sunday 26th. Today's the 23rd.
Sunday is the 26th. You're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
26th.
Yeah.
So yeah, 26th of November. So we look forward to that. 2 p.m. GMT. Right. So final words.
Well, villain. There's always a villain in every story, but the hero usually wins. So onwards and upwards, Angeball for victory.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
I know you.